why don't we go for a little test drive in the E550, just so you can get an idea of what it's all about. And we'll also get an idea to see if this camera mount is any good, or if I need to get a different one. Let's move this climate control up to 72 degrees. There we go. Now the gear change is up here on the column. This is the direct select gear shift, and that allows you to shift the gears without removing your hands from the steering wheel. So all you have to do is just engage the gear like that. I just release the parking brake, and away we go. I mentioned earlier the E550 has a 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, and it is designed to be a true four-wheel drive, meaning all four wheels are driven. Now, a lot of all-wheel drive passenger cars don't really have true four-wheel drive, so if the traction available becomes less than what the tires are able to grip, then you'll have one wheel in the front spinning and maybe one wheel in the rear. A lot of car-based all-wheel drive systems use a viscous center clutch that never fully locks, so you may actually just have all the power going to the front wheels. And with Mercedes-Benz, it's really important to engineer a car to a standard which is beyond what the factory and the engineers expect the customers will use, because you never really know when you might need to have an incredibly capable four-wheel drive, even in a passenger car. Now, because the E550 is a passenger car, this doesn't have the ground clearance to utilize all of the benefit of the four-wheel drive. However, if you are in a situation where you're in mud or sand or snow, as deep as it may be, compared to the clearance available with the car, you're going to have plenty of traction. There are other benefits as well to the all-wheel drive on the road. With this much power and torque, even if you firmly accelerate from a standstill, you're not going to break traction. Also, if you make a left turn at one of these unprotected lights and you need to really accelerate across, you can do that without having to worry about the car wanting to get squirrely, or maybe, the traction control going off. Same thing with making a sharp right turn. The all-wheel drive really provides a great benefit to a luxury car that has this kind of power. It really keeps it under control. The transmission, which is a 7G-tronic Plus transmission, is smoother than the old 7G-tronic, and that's pretty hard to do because the old 7G-tronic was just incredibly smooth and refined, and this is even smoother and more refined. There are two different driving modes. There's an eco mode, which is the mode we're in now, which maximizes the fuel economy and the smoothness and the torque of the engine. It keeps the engine at a very low speed. We're tacking a little over 1,000 RPM right now. The speed limit just went up to 55, so I'll accelerate to 55 here. And we're still just barely over 1,000 RPM. We're probably, 1,300 RPM is what it's indicating. So that really helps to improve the fuel economy. There's also a sport mode if you want to go fast. You can push the sport button, which is located right here, and then you'll have maximum acceleration. The car will shift faster. And then you can also utilize the paddle shifters in either the eco mode or the sport mode if you want the ultimate control over the gear that you are in. All the E550 sedans for North America feature the sport styling, so they're all sport sedans. This particular E550 has the comfort suspension option with steel springs. It rides very well. Definitely not as well as the special order Airmatic semi-active air suspension, but it's definitely a good balance of ride and handling. The speed limit here is 55 miles an hour, so I'll push the sport button, and then I'm going about 20 miles an hour now, and I'll accelerate firmly to 55 miles an hour. The engine is warm. mother of God. Whoa. Yeah, so as you can see, and wow, yeah, the front end, it lifted up, and it sort of felt like a power boat. I don't know if you've ever been out on a jet boat or a Zodiac, but this thing just absolutely rips. And the acceleration is so smooth. Now, besides 0 to 60 and all those other kinds of things that a lot of customers that are shopping for these cars aren't too concerned about, what they do want to know is how does it go from one speed to another speed, and how smooth does it travel from that one speed to another. If you have a car that's really fast, but you know it's downshifting all the time, or it's loud and noisy, that sort of defeats the purpose of a luxury car. I'll slow down now to maybe 40 miles an hour, and then I'll accelerate back up to 55, and as you can see, the engine isn't screaming. It's so smooth and effortless. You just toe into the throttle, and away the car goes. With the comfort suspension, the handling is still German and controlled, but it's very smooth. The comfort suspension allows more body roll than the Airmatic air suspension, because it just can't control the body quite to that level that the Airmatic can. But this feels very much like an older Mercedes, which is a good thing. It rides great, yet at the same time it's still controlled. The comfort suspension that we're riding in now features agility control shock absorbers, so the shock absorbers continuously adjust to the road conditions automatically, and that gives you a really nice combination of ride and handling. So the chassis is really well controlled. As you can see, there's very little lean in the body, although there is more lean than the air suspension. But it rides great. It's very smooth. The steering, I love the steering. Mercedes-Benz for a couple of years went to a very soft, or not soft, but sort of a numb kind of steering, almost like a Japanese car, probably to try to conquest a lot of buyers from Japanese cars into a German car, because German cars used to have really heavy steering. If you've ever driven a new BMW, you'll see, you'll feel what I'm talking about. Mercedes always had heavy steering, but it felt naturally heavy. It wasn't to the point where your arms hurt. And this steering here has it's electronic, and it has a variable assist. It's really easy to steer at parking lot speeds and low speeds, but it offers a lot of feedback, as much feedback as older Mercedes do, and as you achieve higher speeds, it naturally weights up, and it also weights up in the corners, so you have excellent control, and you don't have to make multiple corrections. Can't really do a braking test, because that camera mount I don't trust, but the brakes are absolutely incredible, and the pedal feel is great. Lots of feedback through the pedal so that you know exactly what your brakes are doing, and you can make a very smooth stop. Doesn't require a lot of effort on the brake pedal in order to stop, and it's also very easy to modulate. But the pedal effort is very natural. It's not grabby. If you've ever driven an Audi or a Volkswagen or an Infiniti, when you just gently kind of tap on the brakes, the car really sort of stops more than you anticipate. And in the Mercedes, it's very, very smooth and gentle, easy to come to a very smooth halt, as you can see. When you're stopped at a light, you can activate a hold function on the brake pedal so that the car will stay stopped until you touch the gas pedal. So I'll touch the gas pedal here, and away we go. So it looks like we're stuck in Oxnard traffic now, so that will conclude our road test of the E550 sedan. Oh, wait a second. Maybe not. It looks like there's an opening here. So we'll make a right on Auto Center Drive. This is also the test drive route. So if you want to come down and take a test drive, as you can see, really nice test drive route. Plenty of opportunity to test the car. A little bit of traffic back there just because of the construction, but not too bad. And on the back roads with a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, there's enough opportunity to really get a feel for the acceleration and the braking. And also, if you prefer curvier roads, there are other test drive routes available as well that are very close by, so that you can test the handling. And of course, the 101 freeway. Normally, the 101 freeway is part of our test drive route. But the E550 sedan is a very, very hard-to-find car believe it or not, it's not the easiest car to come by, so I don't want to put a ton of miles on it for this purpose. And I think I can give the viewers a bit of an idea of what it's like to drive just from this short test drive route. And now we can conclude our test drive. So come visit us at 1511 Auto Center Drive in the beautiful Oxnard Auto Center, located right next to Costco. And my name is Barry Rudin, signing out.